In a world where every royal gesture is carefully planned and every public appearance is meticulously choreographed, there exists something truly magical about those fleeting, unscripted moments that reveal the authentic human connections beneath the crowns and titles. These are the instances that transform distant figures of ceremony into relatable parents, children, and family members who share the same bonds of love, protection, and tenderness that unite families everywhere. When cameras capture a father's protective hand on his daughter's shoulder, or a child's innocent trust as she looks up to her parent for guidance, we witness something far more precious than any jewel in the crown estate. These moments remind us that behind the grandeur of palace life and the weight of royal duty, there beats the simple, universal rhythm of family love. The story you're about to read unfolds during one of Britain's most celebrated traditions, where pageantry meets genuine emotion, and where a future king and his young daughter shared a moment so pure and authentic that it would be remembered long after the last horse had passed, and the final note of the national anthem had faded into the London air. The morning sun cast long shadows across the grounds of Windsor Castle as Prince William stood before his bedroom mirror, adjusting his military uniform with practiced precision. The red tunic of the Welsh Guards bore the weight of tradition and responsibility, each button and medal telling a story of service and dedication. Today was not just another royal engagement. It was Trooping the Colour, one of the most significant ceremonies in the British royal calendar, marking the official birthday of the sovereign. In the adjoining room, Princess Charlotte was experiencing her own morning ritual, though hers involved considerably more excitement and considerably less military precision. Her nanny carefully helped her into a powder blue coat that had been specially tailored for the occasion, the fabric chosen to complement the ceremonial colors while maintaining the sweet innocence that made Charlotte such a beloved figure with the British public. The 8-year-old princess had been looking forward to this day for weeks, ever since her father had explained that she would be joining the family on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. The significance of Trooping the Colour extended far beyond a simple birthday celebration. This ceremony, with its roots stretching back over 260 years, represented the very essence of British military tradition and royal continuity. For young Charlotte, however, the historical weight of the occasion was secondary to the simple joy of spending time with her family and being part of something that felt both important and magical. William remembered his own first experiences with such ceremonies, the mixture of excitement and nervousness that came with public appearances, the way his mother, Princess Diana, had always made sure he and Harry felt secure despite the overwhelming nature of royal protocol. Now, as a father himself, he understood the delicate balance between introducing his children to their royal heritage while preserving their childhood innocence and natural spontaneity. The preparation process in royal households during major state occasions follows a choreography perfected over generations. Staff members move with quiet efficiency, ensuring every detail meets the exacting standards expected of the royal family. Charlotte's appearance had been planned weeks in advance, from the shade of her coat to the style of her hair ribbon. Yet there remained space for the small touches that reflected her personality, a favorite bracelet, a subtle hint of lip gloss that made her feel grown up. As the family gathered in the castle's morning room for a quick breakfast before departure, the dynamics between William and his daughter became evident to those who knew them well. Charlotte had inherited her father's thoughtful nature, but combined it with a spirited independence that reminded observers of her late grandmother Diana. She asked questions about everything: why the horses were so important, how many people would be watching, whether she would be able to wave to everyone she could see. William answered each inquiry with the patience of a devoted father and the knowledge of someone who had grown up in the spotlight. He explained how the household cavalry's horses had been training for months for this parade, how the precision of their movements represented the discipline and dedication of the British military. Charlotte listened intently, her blue eyes bright with curiosity and understanding that belied her young years. The journey from Windsor to London provided father and daughter with precious private time together. In the back of the state car, away from public scrutiny, they could simply be themselves, a dad and his little girl sharing stories and jokes. William pointed out landmarks along the route, weaving together history lessons with family memories. Charlotte pressed her face to the window, watching the countryside give way to the familiar sights of London, her excitement building with each mile. The conversation during the drive revealed the careful way William was introducing Charlotte to her future role. He spoke about service and duty not as burdens to be carried, but as opportunities to make a positive difference in people's lives. Charlotte, with the wisdom that sometimes comes naturally to children, asked whether being royal meant she had to be serious all the time. William's laughter filled the car as he assured her that showing genuine emotion and personality was not just acceptable, but essential. As they approached the outskirts of London, the evidence of public excitement became visible. People lined the streets holding British flags, many wearing the red, white, and blue that would dominate the day's celebration. Charlotte waved eagerly from the car window, delighting in the waves and smiles she received in return. William watched his daughter's natural interaction with the public, seeing in her the same instinctive warmth that had made his mother so beloved. The security preparations for trooping the color were extensive, but largely invisible to the royal family themselves. Teams of protection officers had been planning for months, coordinating with military personnel and metropolitan police to ensure the safety of both the royal family and the thousands of spectators who would line the mall and gather outside Buckingham Palace. For Charlotte, this protection was so seamlessly integrated into her life that she barely noticed it, focusing instead on the excitement of the day ahead. Upon arrival at Buckingham Palace, Charlotte was struck by the transformed atmosphere of her grandparents' residence. The palace, always impressive, had taken on an even more majestic quality with the addition of ceremonial decorations and the presence of military personnel in their finest uniforms. The young princess had visited the palace countless times, but today felt different, more formal, more significant, more like the fairy tale setting she read about in her bedtime stories. William guided Charlotte through the final preparations with gentle encouragement. He showed her where they would stand on the balcony, pointing out the best spots for waving to the crowd and explaining how the flypast would work. Charlotte's questions continued to flow. Would the planes be very loud? How high would they fly? Could she count them all as they passed overhead? Her father answered each one while simultaneously preparing himself mentally for his own role in the day's proceedings. The moments before stepping onto the palace balcony were filled with a unique mixture of anticipation and calm. Charlotte stood close to her father, unconsciously mirroring his posture while maintaining her own distinctive energy. The noise of the gathering crowd outside was audible even through the palace walls, a reminder of the public's genuine affection for the royal family and their eagerness to be part of this historic tradition. As final adjustments were made to Charlotte's appearance and William checked his uniform one last time, the father-daughter bond that would soon capture the nation's heart was already evident. In the quiet moments before they stepped into the public eye, William offered Charlotte words of encouragement, reminding her that being herself was the most important thing of all. Charlotte nodded seriously, then broke into one of her characteristic bright smiles that seemed to light up the room. The staff members who witnessed these private moments between Prince William and Princess Charlotte often spoke later of the genuine warmth and mutual respect that characterized their relationship. This was not merely a royal protocol being observed, but a father preparing his daughter for a significant experience while ensuring she felt loved, supported, and confident. The stage was set for a moment that would demonstrate to the world the authentic humanity that exists within the grandeur of royal life. The magnificent spectacle of trooping the color began to unfold with the precision that only centuries of tradition could perfect. From her position on the palace balcony, Princess Charlotte had the most privileged view in all of London, watching as over 1,400 officers and men from the household division took their positions on Horse Guards parade. The morning sun illuminated the ceremonial ground, casting everything in a golden light that seemed to enhance the already magical atmosphere of the occasion. William stood beside his daughter, occasionally pointing out significant moments in the ceremony while ensuring she felt comfortable and engaged. Charlotte's eyes were wide with wonder as she took in the sight of the massed bands, the gleaming instruments catching the light as they prepared to fill the air with the stirring melodies that would accompany the parade. The young princess had heard military bands before, but never on this scale, and the anticipation of the music to come added to her mounting excitement. The ceremony formally began with the arrival of King Charles III, Charlotte's grandfather, who despite his advancing years sat tall and dignified in the saddle as he inspected the troops. Charlotte watched intently as her grandfather, resplendent in his ceremonial uniform, rode past the assembled guards with the bearing and authority that came from decades of military service and royal duty. She whispered questions to her father about the different regiments and their distinctive uniforms, each question answered with patience and obvious pride in sharing this knowledge. The trooping ceremony itself was a masterpiece of military choreography. Charlotte watched in fascination as the regimental flag, was trooped through the ranks of guardsmen, each movement performed with mechanical precision that spoke to countless hours of practice and preparation. The young princess was particularly captivated by the bearskin hats worn by the guards, their imposing height and distinctive appearance adding to the ceremonial grandeur of the occasion. William found himself dividing his attention between the ceremony unfolding below and his daughter's reactions beside him. Charlotte's genuine delight in every aspect of the proceedings reminded him of his own childhood experiences at such events, but also highlighted how much more natural and unguarded her responses were compared to his own carefully controlled public demeanor at that age. Her spontaneous expressions of amazement and excitement brought a smile to his face, even as he maintained the dignified posture expected of his position. The music throughout the ceremony created an emotional backdrop that seemed to resonate particularly strongly with Charlotte. The bands played a carefully selected program that included both traditional military marches and pieces with special significance to the royal family. Charlotte swayed slightly to the rhythm of the more stirring pieces, her natural musicality evident even in these formal surroundings. William noticed her response to the music and made a mental note to encourage this interest in future musical education. As the ceremony progressed, the complexity of the military movements became increasingly impressive. Charlotte watched squadrons of cavalry wheel and turn in perfect formation, their horses stepping in time to the music with a precision that seemed almost supernatural. She asked her father how the horses learned to march so perfectly, leading to a whispered conversation about the months of training required for both horses and riders to achieve such coordination. The flypast preparation was announced, and Charlotte's excitement reached a new peak. She had been looking forward to this moment since learning about it weeks earlier, and now the anticipation was almost overwhelming. William helped position her for the best view, his hand resting protectively on her shoulder as they looked up at the sky, waiting for the aircraft to appear. The crowd below had grown restless with anticipation, their collective excitement palpable even from the palace balcony. The first aircraft appeared as distant specks on the horizon, but Charlotte's sharp young eyes spotted them immediately. She pointed excitedly, her composure momentarily forgotten in the thrill of the moment. William smiled at her enthusiasm, remembering his own childhood excitement at royal flypasts, and feeling grateful that despite all the protocol and formality, his daughter could still experience such unguarded joy. As the aircraft grew closer, their formation became clearly visible, and Charlotte could see the red arrows leading the display with their distinctive red and white paint scheme. The roar of the jet engines grew louder, and Charlotte instinctively moved closer to her father, seeking comfort in his presence while maintaining her fascination with the spectacle above. William's arm came around her naturally, a gesture of protection and shared experience that would soon become the defining image of the day. The flypast reached its crescendo as dozens of aircraft passed overhead in perfect formation, representing different branches of the Royal Air Force, and showcasing the technological prowess of British aviation. Charlotte counted them as they passed, her mathematical skills put to practical use as she tried to keep track of the various types of aircraft. William provided commentary on the different planes, explaining their roles and capabilities in terms his young daughter could understand and appreciate. The noise was tremendous but exhilarating rather than frightening, a testament to human achievement and military capability that seemed to embody the strength and continuity of the British state. Charlotte watched in awe as the red arrows concluded the display with their signature colored smoke trails, painting red, white, and blue streaks across the clear London sky. The symbolism was not lost on the young princess, who understood that she was witnessing something truly special and historically significant. Throughout the ceremony, the cameras captured countless images of the royal family, but it was during these moments of the flypast that the most memorable photographs would be taken. The natural interaction between William and Charlotte, his protective presence, and her uninhibited joy, created images that would be treasured not just by the royal family but by people around the world who saw in them a reflection of their own family bonds and shared experiences. The conclusion of the ceremony brought a mixture of satisfaction and slight disappointment for Charlotte, who had been thoroughly enjoying every moment of the pageantry. William recognized this feeling and took time to explain how special occasions like this were made even more precious by their relative rarity. He promised that there would be other ceremonies and celebrations in the future, each with its own unique character and significance. As the crowds below began to disperse and the military units marched away from Horse Guard's parade, Charlotte remained on the balcony with her father, both of them savoring the final moments of this shared experience. The young princess asked thoughtful questions about what they had witnessed, demonstrating an understanding that went beyond her years and suggesting a genuine interest in the traditions and responsibilities that would one day be hers. The ceremony had been a complete success, executed with the precision and grandeur that the British public expected from such occasions. For Charlotte, it had been an introduction to the formal aspects of royal life that managed to be both educational and genuinely enjoyable. For William, it had been an opportunity to share his heritage with his daughter while watching her develop her own relationship with the traditions and duties that defined their family's role in British society. The images captured during the ceremony would be analyzed and celebrated in the media for days to come. But for those who witnessed the genuine interaction between father and daughter, the most significant aspect was the natural warmth and mutual affection that characterized every moment they shared. This was royal duty at its most human and accessible, demonstrating that the greatest traditions are those that bring families together rather than driving them apart. The moment that would capture hearts around the world began quite naturally, as the most precious moments often do. As the formal ceremony concluded and the royal family gathered on the Buckingham Palace balcony for the traditional appearance before the assembled crowds, Princess Charlotte found herself positioned between her father and the ornate balcony railing. The noise from the thousands of people gathered on the mall was overwhelming at first, a wave of cheers and applause that seemed to rise from the sea of faces below like a living thing. Charlotte's initial response was one of wide-eyed amazement mixed with just a hint of uncertainty. The sheer scale of the crowd was unlike anything she had previously experienced, even during other royal appearances. The mall stretched as far as she could see, packed with people waving flags, taking photographs, and calling out greetings to the royal family. The young princess instinctively looked up at her father, seeking reassurance and guidance in navigating this intense moment of public attention. William immediately recognized his daughter's need for support and comfort. Without any conscious thought or consideration of the cameras trained on them, he placed his hand gently on Charlotte's shoulder, a gesture so natural and paternal that it seemed to embody everything wonderful about the relationship between father and child. This simple touch conveyed protection, encouragement, and unconditional love in a way that no words could have achieved. The physical gesture had an immediate effect on Charlotte's confidence and composure. She straightened slightly under her father's touch, drawing strength from his presence while maintaining her own distinctive personality and natural charm. Her smile became more radiant, more genuine, as she began to wave to the crowd with increasing enthusiasm and enjoyment. The transformation was subtle but unmistakable to those watching carefully. What made this moment particularly special was its complete authenticity. There was no stage direction, no royal protocol dictating this interaction. William responded purely as a father who recognized his child's momentary uncertainty and offered the comfort and support that came naturally from their close relationship. Charlotte, in turn, responded with the trust and openness that characterized her bond with her father. The photographers and videographers present had years of experience capturing royal moments, but even the most seasoned professionals recognized that they were witnessing something extraordinary. The images being captured showed not just royal figures performing their ceremonial duties, but a genuine family moment that transcended the formal boundaries of their public roles. The technical quality of the photographs was excellent, but their emotional impact went far beyond mere technical proficiency. As Charlotte's confidence grew under her father's supportive presence, her natural charisma began to shine through. She waved with increasing animation, occasionally pointing out interesting elements in the crowd to her father and sharing observations that made him smile with obvious pride and amusement. Their quiet conversation, largely inaudible to others on the balcony, created a private bubble of communication within the very public setting. William's responses to his daughter's comments and questions demonstrated the careful balance he maintained between his roles as father and future king. He encouraged Charlotte's curiosity and engagement with the public while gently guiding her behavior to match the dignity expected of royal appearances. This guidance was offered with such subtlety and warmth that it never felt restrictive or critical, but rather supportive and educational. The crowd's response to Charlotte was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. People in the assembled throng could clearly see the genuine affection between father and daughter, and their reaction reflected the universal appeal of family bonds and parental love. Cheer rose from different sections of the crowd as Charlotte waved in their direction, each acknowledgement creating ripples of excitement that spread outward through the gathered people. Charlotte's natural instinct for public engagement became increasingly evident as the balcony appearance continued. She seemed to understand intuitively that her role was to connect with the people below, to represent the royal family in a way that was both dignified and accessible. Her ways became more purposeful, and she began to focus her attention on different sections of the crowd, ensuring that people across the mall felt acknowledged and included. The other members of the royal family on the balcony were clearly aware of the special chemistry between William and Charlotte, and several were seen smiling as they observed their interaction. King Charles, in particular, watched his son and granddaughter with evident satisfaction, perhaps seeing in their relationship echoes of his own experiences as both father and child within the royal family structure. The significance of this moment extended beyond its immediate emotional impact. Royal watchers and constitutional experts would later comment on how this appearance demonstrated the successful integration of the next generation into royal duties and traditions. Charlotte's natural ease with public attention, supported by her father's guidance, suggested a young person who would grow into her royal role with confidence and authenticity. The balcony moment also highlighted the evolution of royal family dynamics over recent generations. The warmth and openness displayed by William and Charlotte represented a more accessible and emotionally honest approach to royal public appearances, one that acknowledged the humanity of the royal family while maintaining appropriate dignity and respect for tradition. As the formal balcony appearance drew to a close, Charlotte remained close to her father, their connection unbroken by the formal requirements of the occasion. William's hand stayed on her shoulder, a constant source of comfort and guidance that allowed Charlotte to fully engage with the experience while feeling completely secure and supported. Their body language spoke of mutual respect, genuine affection, and the special bond that exists between a devoted father and his beloved daughter. The final waves to the crowd were perhaps the most beautiful of all, as Charlotte had fully found her confidence, and William's pride in his daughter was evident to everyone watching. They moved in harmony, their gestures complementing each other while maintaining their individual personalities and styles. The young princess had successfully navigated her first major solo balcony appearance with grace, charm, and authenticity that would be remembered long after the ceremony itself faded from public memory. The photographers continued capturing images until the royal family withdrew from the balcony, but the defining shots had already been taken. The pictures of William's protective hand on Charlotte's shoulder, of her growing confidence under his guidance, and of their shared joy in the moment would become iconic representations of royal family life at its most genuine and appealing. As they stepped back from the balcony and away from public view, Charlotte's immediate reaction was one of exhilaration and accomplishment. She had successfully participated in one of the most important royal ceremonies, had connected with thousands of people, and had done so while remaining completely true to herself. William's quiet words of praise and encouragement confirmed that she had exceeded all expectations and had represented the royal family with distinction and charm. The immediate aftermath of the Trooping the Color ceremony saw an unprecedented outpouring of public affection and media attention focused specifically on the touching interaction between Prince William and Princess Charlotte. Within hours of the balcony appearance, social media platforms were flooded with photographs, videos, and commentaries celebrating the genuine father-daughter moment that had captured hearts around the world. The images of William's protective hand on Charlotte's shoulder became viral sensations, shared millions of times across different platforms and languages. News organizations that had covered hundreds of royal events found themselves struggling to adequately describe the special quality of what they had witnessed. Veteran royal correspondents, typically measured in their language and careful to maintain professional objectivity, wrote with unusual warmth and enthusiasm about the authentic emotion they had observed. The photographs were described as embodying everything positive about modern royal family life, combining tradition with genuine human connection in a way that seemed both timeless thoroughly contemporary. The international media response was equally enthusiastic, with news outlets from around the globe featuring the William and Charlotte photographs prominently in their coverage of the ceremony. European newspapers praised the naturalness of the interaction. American television networks highlighted the universal appeal of the father-daughter bond, and publications in Commonwealth countries saw the images as representing the continuing relevance and accessibility of the British royal family in the modern world. Social media analysis revealed fascinating insights into why these particular images resonated so powerfully with global audiences. Child psychologists commenting on the photographs noted how William's supportive presence allowed Charlotte to develop confidence in a challenging situation, while parenting experts praised the subtle but effective way he provided guidance without being controlling or overwhelming. The images were shared not just by royal family enthusiasts, but by parents around the world who recognized their own experiences in the loving support William provided his daughter. The hashtag campaigns that emerged around the photographs demonstrated the creative ways in which digital audiences engage with royal content. Phrases like Daddy William, Charlotte Strong, and Royal Father-Daughter began trending within hours of the ceremony, accompanied by thousands of comments expressing admiration for the relationship between father and daughter. Many social media users shared their own family photographs inspired by the royal images, creating a global celebration of parent-child bonds that transcended cultural and national boundaries. Television news programs dedicated significant time to analyzing the body language and emotional dynamics visible in the photographs. Expert commentators noted how William's posture demonstrated both protectiveness and respect for Charlotte's independence, while Charlotte's response showed the confidence that comes from feeling truly supported and valued. The images were contrasted favorably with more formal royal photographs from previous generations, highlighting the evolution toward greater emotional openness within the royal family. The response from child welfare organizations and family advocacy groups was particularly noteworthy. Several prominent charities focused on children's well-being issued statements praising William's demonstration of supportive parenting in such a public setting. They noted how his behavior provided a positive example of how parents can help their children navigate challenging or overwhelming situations while maintaining the child's dignity and autonomy. Royal biographers and historians found themselves inundated with requests for commentary on the significance of the moment. Many drew parallels with memorable photographs from previous generations, but noted that the William and Charlotte images possessed a unique quality of spontaneous affection that felt particularly authentic and unguarded. The photographs were analyzed not just as documentation of a royal event, but as artistic representations of family love that happened to occur within a royal context. The fashion and style media also embraced the story, but from their own distinctive perspective. Charlotte's powder blue coat became an immediate sensation, with fashion websites providing detailed analysis of her outfit and speculating about its designer and significance. More importantly, many fashion commentators noted how her clothing choices reflected a careful balance between age-appropriate styling and the formality required for such an important occasion. International royal watchers and constitutional experts used the photographs as launching points for broader discussions about the future of the British monarchy. The images were seen as evidence of successful preparation of the next generation for their future roles, demonstrating that royal children could be raised with both awareness of their responsibilities and the emotional security needed to fulfill them authentically and effectively. The charitable organizations supported by Prince William and the Wales family experienced an unexpected surge in public interest and donations following the ceremony. Many people inspired by the positive family imagery sought ways to support causes associated with William and Kate's philanthropic work, particularly those focused on children's mental health and family well-being. This connection between positive royal coverage and increased charitable support demonstrated the practical benefits that can flow from authentic public engagement. Educational institutions reported increased interest in British history and constitutional studies following the ceremony coverage. Teachers noted that students who had seen the photographs and read about the ceremony were asking more questions about royal traditions, military ceremonies, and the role of the monarchy in modern British society. The images had succeeded in making historical traditions feel relevant and accessible to younger generations. The photography industry itself took notice of the technical and artistic qualities of the images. Several professional photography organizations featured the royal photographs in discussions about capturing authentic emotion in formal settings. The photographers responsible for the images were praised for their ability to document a genuine moment without intruding on its natural development or emotional integrity. Religious leaders and community organizations also found inspiration in the photographs, using them as examples of how public figures can demonstrate positive family values while fulfilling their professional responsibilities. Sermons and community discussions referenced the images as illustrations of the importance of providing children with security and support as they grow into their own identities and responsibilities. The merchandise market responded quickly to the public enthusiasm, with various companies producing items featuring the popular photographs. However, the royal family's licensing arrangements ensured that any commercial use of the images would benefit approved charitable causes, turning the public's affection into practical support for organizations working with children and families. Academic researchers in fields ranging from media studies to child psychology began incorporating the photographs and public response into their work. University courses on modern monarchy, media representation of family life, and the psychology of public events found the images valuable as case studies in how authentic human moments can transcend their immediate context to become symbols of broader social values. The long-term impact of the media coverage extended far beyond the immediate aftermath of the ceremony. The photographs became part of the visual archive of the royal family, likely to be referenced and republished for decades to come as examples of successful royal parenting and authentic family connection. They established a new standard for how royal children's public appearances could be managed with both dignity and warmth. Perhaps most significantly, the overwhelmingly positive response to the photographs provided valuable feedback to the royal family about public expectations and preferences. The authentic moment between William and Charlotte had clearly resonated more powerfully than any carefully staged photo opportunity could have achieved, suggesting directions for future public engagements that would maintain both royal dignity and genuine human connection. The weeks and months following the Trooping the Color ceremony revealed the profound and lasting impact that the simple moment between Prince William and Princess Charlotte had made on public perceptions of the royal family. What had begun as an instinctive paternal gesture during a formal ceremony evolved into something much more significant, a defining image that would influence how the monarchy presented itself to the world and how the public understood the humanity within royal duty. Within the royal family itself, the response to the photographs and their reception prompted important conversations about balancing privacy with public engagement. William and Catherine found themselves discussing how to build on the positive response while protecting their children's natural development and emotional well-being. The success of Charlotte's authentic appearance suggested that the public valued genuine moments over carefully crafted photo opportunities, but it also raised questions about how to maintain that authenticity as the children grew older and faced increasing public scrutiny. King Charles, observing the extraordinary public response to his son and granddaughter, recognized an opportunity to strengthen the monarchy's connection with contemporary British society. The photographs had demonstrated that traditional ceremonies could be made more accessible and meaningful through authentic family moments, without diminishing their dignity or historical significance. This insight would influence planning for future royal events, with organizers seeking ways to create space for natural interactions while maintaining appropriate ceremony and protocol. The educational impact of the moment extended well beyond the immediate media coverage. Schools across Britain and the Commonwealth began incorporating the photographs into lessons about modern monarchy, using them to illustrate how traditions could evolve while maintaining their essential meaning and significance. Charlotte's confident participation in the ceremony, supported by her father's guidance, became an example of how young people could embrace responsibility while remaining true to their own personalities and natural instincts. Child development experts continued to reference the photographs in their professional work, noting how William's supportive presence had allowed Charlotte to flourish in a challenging public situation. The images became teaching tools for parenting programs and family support services, illustrating effective ways to help children navigate new or overwhelming experiences. The visibility of positive parenting behavior in such a public setting provided validation for parents who prioritized emotional support and gentle guidance over strict control or formal distance. The international diplomatic implications of the positive response were also significant. Foreign governments and royal families noted how the authentic family moment had generated such widespread goodwill toward Britain and the royal family. Diplomatic receptions and state visits began incorporating more opportunities for natural family interactions, recognizing that these moments could be more effective than formal ceremonies in building positive international relationships and cultural understanding. Fashion historians and cultural analysts identified the Charlotte photographs as marking a shift in how royal children's clothing and presentation were approached. Her powder blue coat and natural styling had struck exactly the right balance between formality and age-appropriate charm, establishing new benchmarks for royal children's public appearances. Designers working with the royal family noted increased emphasis on creating outfits that allowed children to move and behave naturally while maintaining appropriate dignity for formal occasions. The charitable sector continued to benefit from the positive associations created by the photographs. Organizations supported by the Wales family experienced sustained increases in public engagement and financial support as people sought ways to connect with the values of family support and child welfare that the images had represented. The photographs had effectively translated abstract royal patronage into concrete expressions of family values that resonated with potential supporters. Religious communities found ongoing inspiration in the images, with many faith leaders incorporating them into discussions about family life, intergenerational support, and the role of tradition in modern society. The photographs were seen as embodying timeless values of love, protection, and guidance that transcended specific religious traditions while affirming the importance of strong family bonds in navigating life's challenges and opportunities. The anniversary of the ceremony was marked by retrospective media coverage that revealed how the photographs had influenced subsequent royal events and public engagements. Charlotte's growing confidence in public settings was traced back to the supportive foundation established during that first major balcony appearance with her father. Her subsequent appearances showed increasing natural ease and authentic engagement with the public, suggesting that the positive experience had indeed contributed to her ongoing development as a public figure. Academic research into the photographs and their reception provided valuable insights into how modern societies engage with traditional institutions. Studies showed that authentic emotional moments were far more effective than formal presentations in generating positive public attitudes toward the monarchy. The research findings influenced communication strategies not just for the royal family, but for other traditional institutions seeking to maintain relevance in contemporary society. The photography itself was recognized with various professional awards and honors, but perhaps more significantly, it was selected for permanent inclusion in the National Portrait Gallery's collection of defining images of the royal family. This recognition ensured that future generations would have access to visual documentation of this moment of authentic family connection within the formal structure of royal ceremonial life. International royal families began adopting similar approaches to public appearances, recognizing that the British royal family's success with authentic family moments had set new standards for royal engagement with modern publics. State occasions in other countries increasingly incorporated opportunities for natural family interactions, acknowledging that such moments could enhance rather than diminish the dignity and significance of formal ceremonies. The long-term impact on Charlotte herself became evident in her increasing comfort and effectiveness during subsequent public appearances. The confidence she had developed through her father's support during that first major ceremony provided a foundation for her ongoing role as a young member of the royal family. Her natural charisma and authentic engagement with the public could be traced back to the security and encouragement she had received during those crucial early moments in the spotlight. William's role as a father and future king was fundamentally shaped by the positive response to his supportive parenting during the ceremony. The public validation of his approach encouraged him to continue prioritizing his children's emotional well-being while preparing them for their future responsibilities. The balance he achieved between protection and empowerment became a model for other parents in high-pressure situations, whether within royal circles or in other contexts where children faced public attention and expectation. The ceremonial traditions themselves were subtly but significantly influenced by the success of the authentic family moment. Future trooping, the color ceremonies, and other royal occasions were planned with greater attention to creating opportunities for natural family interactions, recognizing that these moments enhanced rather than distracted from the formal significance of the events. The balance between tradition and humanity had been successfully achieved, creating a template for future royal ceremonies. As the years passed, the photographs from that Trooping the Color ceremony remained among the most beloved and frequently referenced images of the modern royal family. They captured a moment when duty and love, tradition and authenticity, formality and natural affection came together perfectly. The lasting impact of that simple gesture, a father's hand on his daughter's shoulder, continued to influence how the royal family engaged with the public and how the public understood the human reality behind royal tradition. The ultimate legacy of the moment was perhaps its demonstration that the most powerful royal images were not those that emphasized distance and majesty, but those that revealed the universal human experiences of love, support, and family connection that existed within the unique context of royal life. In showing that they were both royal and genuinely human, William and Charlotte had created a new paradigm for monarchy in the modern world.